Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the First Doctor and electronic TARDIS, featuring David Bradley as the First Doctor. So this is the first time that we've had David Bradley as a figure. We've got a whole new head sculpt on a previous First Doctor body, and we have a new version of the TARDIS utilising the Unearthly Child mould that was released last year. This time, however, not only in a new deco, but complete with lights and sounds. And it's really, really cool. But first, let's take a look at the packaging, because the packaging has also had a bit of a change. So rather than the standard window box that we've come to know for the Doctor and TARDIS sets, this time we have a more stripped down version, which is a lot smaller, and we have the First Doctor stood in front of the TARDIS, but on either side, we have these windows to show the TARDIS inside. So it's allowing you to get a clear look at the TARDIS, but taking up a lot less shelf space. However, the most interesting thing about this is that there is no plastic window, so you can actually touch the First Doctor and you can actually touch the TARDIS. It's a bit weird. I like the design. I think the design's quite fun, but my concern is not so much for the TARDIS, but for that First Doctor, the fact that he's like open to the elements, so to speak. I'm just worried that in a shop, someone could like bash it. I mean, I think people could probably get in there and pinch the First Doctor straight out of the packaging. I've seen it with other toy lines where people go in and they swap figures out of boxes and stuff. Is really naughty. And my other concern is that the figure themselves might get damaged just in storage or being moved around, stacked on the shelves, falling off shelves. So that's my only concern. Otherwise, it comes in the same style guide as we've seen before with the new Doctor Who logo. We've got the gold limited edition foil sticker. It says in the top, featuring the First Doctor as played by David Bradley. And then on the back, we have a little biography about the First Doctor, including a little quote as well. And much like with the History of the Dalek sets, we no longer have the diorama backdrop. So out of the box, the TARDIS and the First Doctor look fantastic. We'll start with the First Doctor because obviously we've got a brand new head sculpt on the existing body. So it's the same First Doctor body as we saw released last year with the First Doctor and TARDIS set. Obviously this time round we've got a new Doctor's head on top, but there are changes to the body as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. But looking at the head sculpt, I mean, it's a fantastic likeness for David Bradley. Very good indeed. So he has an Astrakhan hat on his head, or a Karakul hat, very similar to what we saw with previous William Hartnell First Doctor. And then, of course, we've got the long wig at the back. It's kind of like an off-white. It's like a yellowish white, so it's not quite white, which is great. And yeah, I mean, the paint apps are very, very good indeed, and it's just a very good likeness of David Bradley in that part. Then we have the scarf, which is now in full colour. We've got the red, white, and green. And then we've got the closed coat, as we saw last time as well. The buttons on the cuffs and the pockets, lots of detail. And then moving down to the trousers, you've got them in the grey with the black checkers, which I'm sure will please lots of people, because I know there was a lot of criticism, myself included, about the colour of William Hartnell's trousers on some of the recent B&M releases. So I'm sure that will make people happy that at least this Doctor has the right ones. I'm not sure if you can pull the head out. I had a go, but it was quite tough. So if it really does annoy you, you can swap heads across figures as you so wish. You know, if you wanted to give your William Hartnell the coloured scarf rather than the black and white scarf, you can do so. And then moving down to the shoes, these are now just in black rather than the black and brown of previous releases. And it should also be worth noting that he doesn't have any paint apps on his hands either, so the rings are completely painted flesh colour. So overall, a great figure, one that I was not expecting.
So in terms of articulation, the First Doctor has all of the standard articulation of a classic series Doctor figure. You've got articulation at the head, which moves pretty well. It's not really hindered by the scarf. You have articulation at the shoulders. They go all the way around. Articulation at the bicep, which rotate 360. Pivoting elbows. Articulation at the wrist, 360 again. You've got articulation at the waist. Again, this can move back and forth, slightly hindered by the PVC jacket. Hips that pivot forward and out to the sides. Like I said, again, it's hindered by that PVC jacket. You've got articulation at the top of the thigh. They do 360s. And then, as usual, you have a pivoting knee.
Moving over to the TARDIS, we have this brilliant blue weathered TARDIS, which looks amazing. You can see it's based on the Unearthly Child TARDIS that came out last year, but rather than the blue-grey of that box, we now have a brighter blue with a heavier wash, very similar to the TARDIS featured in the docudrama. You've got all new signage on the top with the police public call box signs, new signage on the door, much more sort of tired, yellowed looking police box door sign, which looks great. And then we've got a sort of bronze on the door lock and the handle. And then much like with the other TARDIS, where you can't really put the St. John ambulance sign on the TARDIS anymore because I think the BBC lost the rights or something weird. Instead, we've got this weathered version of what might have been a St. John ambulance sign, which is great. It's a very clever way of suggesting there is something there without actually putting it on there. I love it. It's very clever. So then we also have the standard white window frames going all the way around with a little windowsill at the bottom. And then the weathering, obviously these sculpts are fantastic in terms of the Artex look that they've put to them and the wood grain effect that they've got on them. Not that the original TARDIS props had wood grain, but like this is kind of more inspired by what we saw in David Bradley's first appearance as the First Doctor. So it really works here. With the wash on top, you've got like a greyish wash, and then you've got these dark patches right underneath all of the edges. It works really, really well. It looks great. And then you've got the black base as well. Again, very similar to what we see on screen. And you've got a wash of grey over the top. And then that brand new roof that we saw last year works very well. And again, that all has a wash over the top. And it really brings out the wood grain effect all the way around and on the top. And then we have the standard Fresnel lens with the round cap on top, which looks great. And like I said at the start, this is a electronic TARDIS. It's the first electronic sound effects TARDIS that has been on mass retail release since the 13th Doctor's TARDIS. And it works just like all the previous TARDISes in the line. There's the switch on the bottom, the pressure switch, and the battery compartment in the back. So let's have a listen and a look at those lights and sounds. So as you can see, the lamp on the top flashes in a white glow. It looks great, and the sound quality is very good indeed. And much like with the previous TARDISes, you can, of course, open the doors, which are spring-loaded, with a little button at the bottom. This is a really great set. It's a lovely TARDIS. I'm loving that bright blue, and the wash over the top just really sells it. I think the trouble is, the one thing I will say is that those leaked pictures did not do any justice to either the TARDIS or the figure. The TARDIS in hand is really, really lovely. It's a great little display piece. It's a fun toy with the lights and sounds. And yeah, the dirty washes that I don't think you could really see in those leaked images really pop on this TARDIS. It looks fantastic. Likewise, with the First Doctor, it's an amazing head sculpt. Again, it looks so good in hand, much better than in those leaked pictures, which, you know, it still looked good then. It's a really good set. If you're a fan of David Bradley's version of the First Doctor, then I would highly recommend getting this set because you get a great First Doctor and you get a great variation of his TARDIS, complete with lights and sounds, which we just don't get anymore, so it's very exciting. Great paint job, great sound effects, great lights, and of course, a fantastic new head sculpt of the First Doctor. So we just need Richard Herndl now, please. Fingers crossed, maybe next time. So thank you all for watching. I hope this was useful. Like I said, it's a great set. Good luck tracking it down, and I will see you all soon for another Doctor Who action figure review. Goodbye.